So we continue. I hope you understand this network thing. As for Zoom there, we should be ready for it. So. Okay, so we continue with our, is the screen showing, please? Do you have the screen?
Yes, Abba.
Okay. So, where was I? Elijah. So 3 years of the drought, Queen Jezebel begins a campaign to murder all the prophets in the land. And then Elijah confronted Ahab, demanding that Israel chooses the one that they will follow, the court they will follow. And therefore, what did he do? Elijah challenges the priest of Baal to a contest to see whose God can miraculously set an animal, which was a bull, which has been put on fire, or on the altar on fire. Which of the gods can just light it out? That's why the animated prayer and self-mutilation, the priests of Baal are unable to get any fire coming down from the gods of Baal. So Elijah asked that his altar is soaked with water 3 times to the extent that the water just overflowed the trench of the altar. And when he prayed, God engulfs the altar in flames. And then the name of God supersedes that of Baal, and therefore demands that then that is the God that we will all have to worship. There's an old song about this particular story. And I don't know, Edimbenia Montremia, Montremia, Edimbenia Montremia, Maba, Edimbenia Montremia, Montremia. I don't know how many of us have heard that song before. It's a very old song. My grandma's favorite, one of her favorite songs. And then
Reverend Kusibeko.
Reverend Kusibeko, very good.
Yeah, Papa Reverend Kusibeko, yeah.
Very good. And then they will narrate the whole story. And then Baya Konfo, Koma. There was another song. Baya Konfo Ojamo. There's another song like that. Akoma, Baya Konfo Ojamo.
Reverend Michael.
Reverend Michael what?
Osebunsu.
So there's another
The
song.
late Reverend Michael Osebunsu.
Very good. There's another song even using the same story. And it's so interesting for us to see how, some of these things happen, how God works. So Elijah flees. Okay, so Elijah flees from Jezebel after Jezebel threatened to kill him. And this thing, up to now, I'm still trying to unravel it. Someone who has so much power like this go call, pray to God, and fire will descend. And a lady, a woman, Jezebel was even old at that time, decide to tell her, I will kill you. And he said because she had killed the other prophets, so you run away and even tell God to take your life. Up to now, maybe I need to do more research into why he has to do that. Because I thought that he possesses the power at the time. Like, somebody like, who is even the nation's prophet now? Now, I don't know. At the point, I know Opambo was there. Ubinim came. Obofo came. Dom Dako had come. So, who is a Bakwidi say, Salifamu Akokra by, and Bedu MPP for Sophie FMC Bedu no Bedu Kobi so only NDC Usu Bempa MPP na Bedu Kobi we and they were Eagle Prophet. So right now, who is the reigning prophet of the land? I don't really know. Muna mutaiti. Ejaba.
Mama Pat.
Oh no, Chedria also still at that yeah.
Adum change.
Adum Chia. He's not
no,
reigning.
Papa, it is Prophet Kofi Odro.
Oh, now Kofi Odro there's no. Kofi Odro was a Presbyterian. He also Presbyterian. Ojaba. And so then Ojaba, I hear wonders the way they do the testimony. Now, hey, and I'm a coy and in a Jeffrey Subugu, hey, near the Numa shake, near we no be or baby, I be just wait up and make no say, hey, who need me? No way, Johnny the America. No. I don't know. I've been trying to understand this whole thing, but I'm sure one day I'll unravel what happened. But also tell her that we should also be careful with women. We should fear them. I tell people that it doesn't matter that you are married, it doesn't matter that you are strong. Be careful when the women are closer to you. So basically, he ran away. And then we get to know that he complained to God that he wanted to die. Elijah is surrounded by the wind. Later, go to him to go to the mountain. At that mountain, he is being surrounded by wind, earthquakes, and fire. But none of this, we are told, is God. Because God said he was going to speak to him. So when the wind was blowing, he said, yes, God is coming, and God wasn't there. The earthquake came, God wasn't there. Fire came, God wasn't there. Because God has even used the fire. So I'm sure that when the fire was coming, he said, one in heaven, Ojan in heaven. So that should tell us that God can be in the form of a wind, an earthquake, even in the form of a fire. But he can also whisper gently into our ears. And sometimes that is what I tell people, that sometimes we should be tuned to the spirit. It's not always that it is the fire. No, sometimes God also wants to speak to us. I don't know whether you get it. Sometimes that prayer, when you're praying that prayer, you never get tired. I tell people that is a lazy form of prayer. You never tired. So what's happening is that it's the same way now. I near the drums mentioned. Matisse Lorraine cried the abonum. I'm being told Lorraine is having a song with it. Paya. Hey, on me about the whole day, remember, I can't the whole night. Because but sometimes God whispers to us in a very gentle. That one too is there. So the wind can come, the earthquake can come, the fire calling down fire can come. And the same way, God also speaks gently to us. So never let us downplay God's speaking ability. He is never limited to our understanding. That is what I want to say. Elijah felt wind, earthquake, fire. God said, no, you can't predict me and have it. I'm unpredictable. You can't just say that and say wind is blowing, so I should be. Why? I'm not that simple. Let me use something that you don't even expect. Speaking into the ears. Okay, so, and God encouraged Elijah to return to the town. And then now he appoints a new man, Elisha, to be his apprentice. And eventually he succeeded him. So one day Ahab and Jezebel stole Naboth's vineyard. And then it was so remarkable how they did it. Intentionally put up a banquet and then accused him wrongly. Made people come, false accusation, and they killed him. So bad, stoned him to death. Because Jezebel said, you give Ahab the vineyard. And Naboth also said that vineyard belongs to the forefathers, so he won't give it out. So the singing man will sing the song with it. Eri nye ye se medi bema wo. Eri nye ye se medi bema wo. Bebo tu rono medi no. Ejapade na but oh na but and nowadays I don't hear it being sung. Now we don't sing it. It's about the way Papa ne de no beto ye no the G-Scan the DSP akwano police ni. I said my the African Bobo.
It's not ACP. ACP.
Now yeah, Bobo na. Oh, there are some singing man songs in there. Oh say oh ain't I see that now but this Naboth is a nice sermon on its own. Singing man songs are mostly Bible-based, biblical-based kind of story. So Elijah finds Ahab in the vineyard and declares that because of his murderous deeds, Ahab and Jezebel will die and dogs will lick up their blood. So soon after, Ahab makes an alliance with the king of Judah. You remember we talked about Jehoshaphat who gave Joram and Atalia for them to marry from the other side, the southern kingdom. So they make alliance, and the two of them united to fight the Amorites who had occupied Israel's border. So they were on the northern kingdom's border, and then the southern kingdom came to support them to fight. Ahab is killed at that battle, and then he bleeds to death in his chariot. When the chariot is cleared after the battle, dogs gather to lick his blood. Have you seen a prophecy coming to pass? And that's why I said that when we see the man of God, there's a difference between a prophet and a man of God. A man of God can speak and it will come to pass. So let us be careful the way we use the name man of God and prophet. Now, Elisha initiated a coup to cut off Ahab and Jezebel's dynasty by secretly anointing a military commander called Jehu. So Jehu descended on the city, and at the time Ahab's son and Judah's king were also visiting. So Jehu had come to visit Ahab's son. And then the men of the city supported Jehu, and then they overthrown the kings. So Jehu overcame the kings on horseback and shot arrow into them, and then ended that witchcraft and adultery process. Now, when he was entering the city, after he had done that, Jezebel called out secretly in a seductive manner, trying to seduce Jehu from a window. That is why people who become so much like me, say you are the children, you are a child of Jezebel. Because Jezebel was trying to seduce Jehu from a window. You know that when you go to most of these foreign countries, most of the prostitutes, you can be walking by the street and you see them by the window, or maybe a glass form or something advertising for you to come in. And Jezebel started it long ago. So the men of the city threw her out of the window, and Jehu's horse trampled over her. Now, do you know what happened? The dogs came to eat her dead body, fulfilling Elijah's prophecy. So when Elijah made a prophecy, he had not gone. Elisha was still there. And Elisha came to anoint someone to take over. And that person's taking over led to the death of Jezebel. And then the dogs came to lick the body. Now, after that, Jehu killed all Ahab's family, make sure that they killed all of them. Jehu invited all the priests of Baal to an assembly and also murdered them. All those who were left, he wiped away all those foreign gods and worshiping and those things from the system. But the rest of the kings who came continued the evil deeds as it has been. Even Jehu himself became so evil. And then finally they were invaded by the Assyrians who captured them. And then this time, instead of them taking the people of Israel into their land, they rather came to stay with them, populating the place and then bringing in their own gods and everything to destroy the land, to make sure that the land is no more for Christ again. Okay. So the same way as we did with the first kingdom, the northern kingdom have Jeroboam. He reigned for 22 years. The account of him can be found in 1 Kings chapter 11, verse 26 to okay, so we are back. So quickly. So we have Jeroboam. So we have Jeroboam the first, and then he ruled for 22 years, and then came Nadab. Nadab was Jeroboam's son. He ruled for 2 years, and Baasha killed Nadab to take over the kingdom. Baasha reigned for 24 years. His own son Elah took over for 2 years. Elah's son Zimri for 7 days. And then Omri, who was also the commander for Elah, killed him and then took over. For 12 years, Ahab, Omri's son, took over for 21 years. Hazael also came, who was the son of Ahab, took over for 1 year. Jehoram or Joram also took over from Hazael for 11 years. Then Jehu came, wiped all of them off. So it was Jehoram who was killed last minute, and then Jezebel was killed. Jehu wiped them off.